What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Formula America podcast. We're your hosts, Kurt and Dylan, and I'm back, Dylan. We got the gang back together, back from my trip.
He made it.
I did make it. Thank you, Abel, for subbing in for me. I appreciate that. Man, I feel like I missed so much, though. With the Chinese Grand Prix and the sprint and the way I felt, it was a roller coaster of emotions. We didn't get to talk about that. And then now there's like news coming out before Japan even comes up where already we've got a team principal shift.
Yep. It's rare that it happens effective immediately.
It is. If you remember, I'm pretty sure that was my wild card in my preseason prediction was that we would have a team principal shift. But man, that was surprising.
Which I thought you were crazy on. I was like, yeah, sure, maybe, but it's not going to happen like mid-season. JK, second race.
You know what? I didn't think it would be Jonathan Wheatley. That's not at all what I thought. So let's talk about that. What's going on here? We've got Audi, who announced, first off, there's tons of speculation about Aston Martin. They came out and said that Adrian Newey would be stepping down from his role, which I don't ever think was supposed to be a permanent role as team principal, but he was stepping down. And then almost immediately, the rumors are flying that it's going to be Jonathan Wheatley from Audi. And then Audi announces, hey, Jonathan's leaving for personal reasons.
Effective immediately.
Yeah, effective immediately, which, I mean, if you put 2 and 2 together, it's looking like it's going to equal 4, if you ask me. I wouldn't be surprised to hear the announcement that Wheatley is going to be going to Aston Martin soon.
That's interesting, too. I'm surprised. So Wheatley came from Red Bull, took over Sauber team principal last year, and is now getting to work with Audi, which has an incredibly prestigious racing pedigree. And seems to be doing pretty well, but definitely better than Aston Martin is. They put a pretty good car together. They've got their own engine together. Like that's a lot of hopping and popping. I love the Aston Martin team. I think what Lawrence Stroll is putting together over there is going to be pretty amazing. But I'm surprised to yank him. That's a hell of a move. It must have been a hell of an offer.
Well, coming from Papa Stroll, it's definitely a hell of an offer. But the only thing that I've read, it's all been speculation, but the only one that really makes sense to me is they were talking about Jonathan Wheatley. Obviously, he's a British guy. If you look at Audi, they took over from Sauber, which is based out of Switzerland. Their main headquarters is down in Switzerland. This offers him an opportunity now to go back to England, to go to Silverstone, which is Motorsport Valley in the UK. It's where a lot of the big teams are headquartered at. It's where everybody wants to be. Like, you want to be at ground zero. That's essentially ground zero for F1. And so you've got Lawrence Stroll, who's like, hey, we need something to change here. I don't think Adrian Newey was a good team principal candidate from the get-go. He
never wanted to be a team principal.
Exactly. Adrian Newey is an engineer. Like, he looks at the wind, and that's where he gets off doing.
And draws it in his little red book.
Exactly. It's like the girl in the F1 movie. It's like, oh, you can't afford a car? And she's like, I like to ride and feel the wind in my face. It's like,
I don't remember that part at all.
I'll
take your word for it.
But so I don't think Adrian Newey was the right one for that job, but I think that this offers Wheatley a chance to go home and a chance to really fatten up his pockets. And if you look at everything Aston Martin has, they've got everything state of the art. They've got all the pieces. We've talked about it before.
Got all the ingredients, minus one of the drivers.
Well, that's a big one, but they're just trying to get now the glue to put all this and hold it all together. And I think once they figure that out, they'll be good. So it is surprising that he's doing it so soon. When Audi is an upstart, you have a chance to build something new. But I guess you kind of have the same thing at Aston Martin at this point. It's so fast. 2 races. It's like Liam Lawson last year.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all. So we got that. We got a couple liveries. Haas's Japanese special livery looked pretty good, I thought.
That might be one of my favorites, like, in a while, maybe ever. That thing looks amazing.
It's just so funny because Haas is so gray.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, hey, cool. They had delivery. Check that out. Anyway.
Look, I think Haas is really trying to step up because now you got Cadillac taking over America. Well, taking over as the American F1 team.
Well, Haas never wanted to be the American F1 team. They had every opportunity to.
It did, but now they have to. Now it's like, all right, but yeah, is it too little, too late? I don't know. But the Racing Bulls livery, that one
Yeah,
looks good. That
yeah,
they
it
went
does.
with like the white with the red. That looks really good. And then Mercedes also switched it up a little bit.
Yeah. So we've got all of those. It was announced there's not going to be a change to any of the race start technical stuff for this weekend, which I'm a fan of.
Maybe I must have missed this while I was gone. What's going on with that?
George Russell threw a crying, kicking, and screaming fit because Ferrari gets a really good race start, and that's not fair. And so they want to change the race starts to make it easier for Mercedes.
That's um, that's the best George Russell summary I've ever
But
heard.
it's completely true. Like his whole commentary was like, they set the regulations up a certain way and it doesn't work for us. And Ferrari figured it out, but they're the only ones that figured it out. So I think we should change it. And Ferrari's over there going, or what did he said, he was like, there's only one team out there that disagrees. It's like they set their car up for that. And now they don't want to change it. And you're like, it's weird, George. It's like they planned ahead and set this they did what the regs said and it worked out well for them and they don't want to change it. No way. That's a crazy idea.
That's pretty strange from the guy who's driving a car that's out qualifying the next closest non-Mercedes car by 6 to 7 tenths of a second.
Yeah, it's
Well,
just so George Russell.
It very much is. And what was interesting is now I'm starting to see a lot of chatter that Ferrari has filed a complaint against Mercedes for the speed of their active aero on the front of the car. Apparently, internet sleuths are watching camera footage from from the Mercedes front wing, and by regulation, they have what 400ths of a second. I think that the
Thought it
wing
was
has to,
6.
whatever it is, it has a certain amount of time that has to go from open to closed. And Mercedes figured out a way to do it just enough within that time so that it satisfies the sensor, but it's not fully closed. And then that second phase of the closing to go all the way closed takes like double the time, which aerodynamicists, I'm not me, but apparently it kind of settles the car a little bit better when you're going from full speed to
Not so
braking, going into
abruptly.
a current. Yeah.
It's
So
interesting
that's
because, like, the flip side of that, apparently the big reason that Ferrari hasn't been using the Macarena rear wing, or which Lewis Hamilton thought was hilarious, they just called it the flippy floppy wing. I think both of them are kind of funny. Was that while the Macarena rear wing does close in the allotted amount of time, it is slower than the front wing. And so what happens when you get to the end of the straight and you slam on your brakes, your front wing closes all the way, your rear wing isn't closed yet. And so all of that downforce is on the front axle with nothing on the rear axle. They said the car gets real squirrely real fast when you've got nothing on the back axle and everything on the front. And I was like, yeah, I bet that does get a little unnerving trying to turn into a corner if with no rear axle.
actually, was it here last year that Jack Doohan kind of did that when he went into the turn without closing the DRS on the
No, that
back?
was Europe. That was in Europe. I
Okay.
know exactly what you're talking about because he said in the sim that he
Yeah.
could take it with the DRS open, not in real life.
That's a big chance right there, buddy. It's a Hail Mary. Didn't work out.
Yep. So pretty wild. All right. Good.
No, I was gonna say that's all the news that I'm aware of leading into this weekend.
Sure, there's some more. Tires, we're at C1 through C3, hardest in the lineup, which actually should be interesting. It's the first time that this hard tire is being run. So in 2025, before the race, they resurfaced the first sector of Suzuka only. They've now resurfaced the other 2 sectors of it. And so it's 2/3 of brand new track. And so there's a lot of curiosity on how these tires will do. The C3s, the soft tire in China did really well, was really well balanced. And so they're kind of curious, what's going to happen this year with the resurfaced track, which should be quite smooth. Shouldn't have too big of a deg issue, even though this is one of the, the most brutal tracks on tires. So could be different tire lineups. I don't think it was. Last year was a one-stopper through and through. Everyone started on mediums, went to hards. I have a feeling that's what's going to happen again this time, though.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks, and speaking about the tires and what everybody's going to do and strategy, is it going to change? It's one of those tracks that I think it's a driver favorite. It is one of those quintessential F1 like classic
OG
tracks. Yeah, it's a racer, it's a driver's track. But over the past few years, it has gotten pretty stale for racing F1 cars because of how big they are, or they were. They were hard to pass. And now I'm excited for this year because, the cars are smaller. We've seen a lot more passing now with the new battery management and all that. And so I'm pretty excited. I think this is actually going to be quite a good change from what we've normally seen here at Suzuka over the past few years.
I agree. I think this is the overarching issue, though, in general. Yes, I have a feeling it'll be more entertaining. I just dislike the Mario Kart gimmickiness of it. Like you look back on, um, I was showing my son Red Bull last year in the 2025 car with Max raced a Lamborghini around Monza. And they and Max did donuts in the background while the Lamborghini started off and got 30 or 40 seconds ahead, and it had Max hunt the Lamborghini down. And just seeing Max in that car, like on the absolute ragged edge of Monza, running this Lambo down was so fun. And then I swiped up on Instagram and it was like a Chinese Grand Prix highlight, and it was, Mario Kart again. It was just like, it is entertaining. I'm not going to say that it's not, but I want the driver at the ragged edge of the technical capabilities, not strategically deploying batteries and throwing banana peels out the window around the
Yeah.
track.
I get it. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I wasn't on the last podcast, and I know Abel gave some of his insight on it, and I'm going to disagree with him a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Going into last weekend, or the Chinese weekend, I was watching the sprint, and I actually took a note, and I was like, I feel numb. I don't feel excited for this. You got to see, I think Lewis passed Russell, and it's like normally that would be exciting, but he also deployed all of his battery. Russell's about to come right back on him and pass. Then it got to the race. And on the race, I started to feel myself start to get excited again. I think what it was the drivers and the teams, you could tell, are starting to figure out the strategy behind the battery deployment and harvesting and all that more. And also as a fan, from watching it, I'm starting to understand it a little bit more.
For
And I
sure.
get where it's still a little bit gimmicky, but I think that I'm going to hold off on passing too much judgment on these new regs just yet, because I think there's something there that once they FIA and Formula One figure it out and deal with the clipping and all that, I think there might be something there because it has been a lot more exciting. And
It
I'm
has.
actually, and I'm actually excited because I was reading earlier that after Japan, apparently they're having a meeting where they're going to discuss changing up the battery modes for qualifying to deal with getting rid of the clipping and all that. They said that they're not going to discuss changing it for racing just yet. But qualifying is really the one where you get to see normally on the ragged edge, like you're saying. But now we're watching qualifying, we're watching them dial it back at the end of the straights and strategically lifting and coasting. Nobody wants to see that during qualifying. Qualifying should be the absolute fastest that you ever see these cars. And so I'm excited to see what kind of changes come about from that. But I think there's something there, I feel like. They just got to figure it out, like Aston Martin.
I guess a part of it, there's always been three pillars to Formula One. You had the car engineering itself, you have the drivers, and then you kind of have the background politics, right? Those are the three pillars of F1. I feel like there's half of a new pillar of engineering deployment strategy, right? Like you can build a rocket ship of a car, you can put the great driver in it, and you can play with the politics. But now we also have to have extra capacity in the car to hit a bunch of extra buttons, which has made the racing more entertaining. I'm not arguing that at all. I think it's just that I don't like change, right? I don't
Yeah.
want a half a new pillar of how good are you at the extra capacity to push buttons in the car to deploy. I think that's what I feel. I'm like, no, I don't want that part. Get rid of that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's probably new job postings popping up for battery deployment strategists and stuff
Yes.
like that.
Yeah, I think that's my core issue of it on a conceptual level. I bet the racing this weekend's going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. All right, well, back to Suzuka. Suzuka has the opportunity for some crazy weather, but I was just looking it up and it looks like Friday and Saturday are going to be sunny, cloudy on Sunday, but it's not calling
Going to
for
be
any kind of
cool.
rain. Yeah, which
Yeah.
I think it'll be good. Good for racing.
It'll be some good, nice, chilly, cold, wet racing. It'll be good. Let's get to your predictions.
Oh, okay. Uh I'm ready for these. I'm
I feel
ready.
like mine aren't very fun.
I can already see yours now. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
you
switching
can.
up a little bit on mine. All right, well, why don't you go ahead and start off with who you have on pole position?
George Russell.
Okay, George Russell on pole. So that means I will switch it up because I also had Mr. Russell on pole. I'm gonna go with Kimmy because I still don't think you can beat the Mercedes on one lap pace, even though Red Bull and Ferrari have already said they're bringing updates. I'm not sure anybody else. There's a lot of chatter I've been seeing recently about people speculating that McLaren is going to start to be coming into the mix a lot more because they're starting to figure it out. But
They're going to be coming into the mix as in they're going to complete a race lap?
look, oh my God,
I
Oscar
mean,
Piastri.
all they have to do is like, to be present is to be there, right?
This is funny. I saw some meme. I saw some meme. It was a guy smiling. He was like me when I realized I've completed as many races as Oscar Piastri this year.
So yeah, I'm sure McLaren is expecting to be in the mix. I mean, where in the mix? None of us have a clue, but they might actually be there.
Poor Oscar, dude.
Poor Oscar.
Jeez. Okay. Next. What did I say? I said Kimmy, right?
You said Kimmy.
Okay. Got me thinking about Oscar. I almost put him down. All right,
Yeah, I don't think
P3.
that McLaren's gonna be that fast, even when it does show up.
I think it's going to take a little bit
I
longer.
do too. P3, Lewis Hamilton.
Okay, good. I don't have to change mine. My P3, I have Charles Leclerc.
I knew you did. That's why I wrote down Leclerc and then I said, "Oh, Kurt's gonna put that one." So
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
I think it probably will be, but that sure was some fun racing between Leclerc and Hamilton. And I know I said it with Abel, but I loved that both drivers came over the radio and were like, "That was a ton of fun."
Yeah, that was like, I don't know, some generational battle. That was absolutely amazing. I'm sure Ferrari as a team were just on the edge of their seat like we were, but them for
Yeah.
a much different reason. Man, that was good.
But it was so good. And I was like, here comes the drama. And then they were both such happy campers. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Like that, good.
Yeah, it's like when you go to a karting track with your buddies or something and you're like, oh, dude, that was so much fun.
Yes, that's what it, and I love that, Leclerc came over and was like, yeah, Lewis got me. Turns out 20 years of experience. I still have a few things to learn. You're like, kudos to you, Leclerc. Like, way to, hell yeah. So, P2, I've got Antonelli.
Kimi Antonelli. Okay, P2, I have the man who was just seen driving that beautiful Ferrari F40 to a car meet in Tokyo, Lewis Hamilton.
That F40 was. Can you imagine being at a car meet and Lewis Hamilton shows up in an F40?
Yeah, first you're like, is that an F40? And then Lewis gets out. You're like, what the hell? I love all the videos that come out around this time of year from Lewis because he always seems to love Japan and he's always
in
out
China.
there doing
He was doing all
crazy.
kinds of stuff in China. He was helping the panda bears and everything in between.
Yep, so I got Lewis P2 and
Georgie boy winning it.
Oh, George winning it, huh? I don't have to change anything because I had Kimi. I got the young Antonelli up there.
It was fun seeing him so emotional in China.
Oh, that was so good. I was watching a video last night of his father in the garage with Toto. He hugged Toto, I think 6 times back to back. Like the amount of Italian passion that was just pouring out of that man.
Yes, it was. My wife was trying to crack the whip to get me out of the door, and I was like, "No, I am watching this ceremony. We will see the champagne being sprayed."
Yeah, he's crying. This is awesome.
All right. What do you got for your wild card?
So my wild card, the astute listeners would realize I only had one Mercedes on my podium. I think that this weekend we are going to have a Mercedes DNF, and I'm looking back at the past. We've had Carlos Sainz, couldn't even make qualifying in Australia. He had an issue. We had Oscar Piastri, had a power spike, also Mercedes engine in Australia, put him into the wall. Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris both had PU issues, some sort of electrical
Those are actually
gremlins.
electronic issues that are made by McLaren.
I think that all still comes from Mercedes, though.
I think the electronic system is in McLaren.
Well,
I know it used to. Okay, let me back that up. I know it used to be. I know that, like, in the last generation of cars, a lot of the electrical system all came from McLaren. So I don't know about the new cars.
I'm pretty sure I read it. It's from Mercedes, but
okay.
Either way, I think we're going to have an issue where we're going to have a Mercedes DNF. I'm not calling why the car is going to DNF. I was just using that as my
DNF, DNS,
basis.
just not going to complete the race.
Yeah, not going to complete the race. Yeah, I should a DN.
A DN.
Did not.
I've got that we are going to continue our shenanigans and have 5+ DNs in this race.
That's funny because I was thinking maybe we should add a section of a prediction on here on how many DNFs we're gonna, or how many cars will not finish the race we're gonna have. Because now we can't just say DNF anymore. Because now we got
because good grief, we used to never have DNSs, and now it's like half of them.
So you got how many cars?
5+.
5 not gonna start and or finish.
Yep.
Golly.
The shenanigans will continue. Last year, we couldn't get a DNF if we frickin' tried. You could throw banana peels on the ground. It didn't matter. Now, it's just pure chaos in the background.
Man. All right. So what's your prediction? This is unofficial, but I'm interested to see. What's your prediction on the Aston Martins this week? You think they're going to be included in that list, or you think we might get one?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to pull it together this fast. Not to mention, you're dealing with the logistical nightmare of getting everything from Silverstone to Asia. It's just, I think it's too much. Although, as I'm saying that, this is Honda's track.
Yeah, I mean Honda's down
the street actually. So I was more thinking in general Aston Martin terms. I still don't see it. It's not yet.
Yeah, and I know it was such a heartbreak for Honda. I know they were trying everything to have a package together for this weekend that would potentially help out this car. And they had special liveries planned that they canceled those because nobody wants a special livery on a car that might not even make it to the end. It's just, man, it's so much going on. I hope that they can figure it out and Honda doesn't wind up just like getting a black eye and leaving the sport again.
Well, and I think that's kind of the interesting part because this happened before with Honda. And what was that, 2011, 12?
Back with McLaren.
Yeah, it went real south real fast. I think it was before 11. And then they came back, famously with Red Bull, but Red Bull didn't trust them. So they made Racing Bulls run the Honda engine for an entire season first to see if it would work before they put it in the Red Bull car in like 2019, I believe. And I mean, then we have the Max Verstappen era where Red Bull was an absolute rocket ship with that Honda engine. So it's like, all right, nice. Honda, for all the new Drive to Survive listeners, like Honda is this, well done engine. And now we're coming to this and it's like, I think all those old school fans are going, yep.
Yeah, we will see. Funny thing is last time it was also with Fernando Alonso. So
poor Fernando.
God, every time he thinks he's like, I finally made the right choice. And now he's like, oh, speaking of Fernando, he's missing out on media day right now because he is at the birth of his child.
Good for him. Congratulations, Fernando.
So he is going to have a brand new baby, and now he's going to
he'll name the baby Lewis?
I don't.
For his best friend, his bestie?
I do not. I
don't think so either.
So yeah, good for Fernando. It's kind of strange to go from that to then racing.
Fernando would probably rather be at the race. He is like 52 and still racing, so
he's 75.
Close enough.
He raced in the first Formula One race ever.
He was actually Jim Clark, all right? I don't think y'all realize that.
All right, what else do we got? We've got, let's see. Oh, yeah, we've got some race times here. This is a bad one for us in America. First practice session is tomorrow night at 22:30, so that's 10:30 p.m.
Eastern
here on
time.
the East Coast. And then the quali's at 2 a.m. East Coast on Saturday, and the race is 1 a.m.
Yeah, it's going to be wake up and watch.
Yep, definitely going to watch that the next day. But I'm excited. Gives me something to look forward to.
Yeah, I agree. I got to give it to some of those podcasts that watch all of them live and do their reactions because...
Yeah. I was watching one. They're like, it is 3:30 in the morning right now. I'm like, holy crap.
I wouldn't be sober.
I couldn't form a sentence. Yeah, yeah, for sure. It'd be either the worst or the best podcast ever. I'm not sure. One of us would fall asleep halfway through.
Yeah. Just tower of beer cans in the background building.
Just gets taller. Just knock everything over at some point.
Maybe we should do one of those then. It might
Yeah,
be
maybe.
not the 2 a.m. one though. We got to reel that back to like a midnight.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so what else do we got? I think that's it. Other than that, some news. We just hit over 50,000 streams for the podcast, so that's
Whoop
amazing.
whoop.
And I think that might be it, Dylan. Is there anything else on your end?
At 50,000 streams, are we able to retire yet? Are we like, can we go buy a boat and we're gonna be at Monaco?
Almost. We're gonna have
Okay.
to renegotiate our contract soon.
Ah,
So
yeah,
I
like
want some more zeros. Because right now all we have is a zero.
Hey, we got $10. Woohoo!
All
I
right.
think
Well,
that's it, Kurt.
okay. Well, make sure you like this podcast, share it with a friend, subscribe on YouTube if you're watching us there. But I think that's it. So on that note,
Stay classy, America.
we'll see you next time.